Hi, everybody. I'm Steph, the Educator, and you have tuned in to Essential Pedagogy. And I'm so happy you are here. I just want to start out by asking everyone if you like this content, you get into this content, first 15 minutes, you like it, please like and subscribe to Essential Pedagogy on my YouTube channel. That would help me out a lot. You just don't know. I'm not trying to make $1 trillion, $1 billion. I just want to be able to maintain some status where I can get my trademark situation together for my name, Essential Pedagogy. So I want to ask you guys to please subscribe, please like, and look at some of the other shows I've had and give me your feedback and let me know what you think. Today's show is about avoiding burnout or avoiding complete burnout. I thought about this topic when I listened to a sermon that my pastor was speaking on, and he was talking about being sent, right? And so it brought to my remembrance that we are in the very place that God would have us to be. Sometimes we ruin the moments because we don't intentionally feel comfortable in what we're doing. Something in about what we're doing. And my profession is teaching. It is education. And so I see it so clearly. I've been through it. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I am an educator. I've been teaching science for 22 years this year. A long time. 22 years I've been in education. I've been burned out, and I've been in complete burnout a couple of times, but I don't want to say that just because you are experiencing burnout that you are not supposed to be in education. There are some things that you can do in order to avoid complete burnout. But before we get to that, I want to talk to you guys about just some you got to identify where you are in your space of work and how you're feeling. If you do not acknowledge how you're feeling in your stomach and in your everyday life, if you're feeling drained, if you feel anxious, I didn't know what anxiousness was. Okay. I did not know what that was until my dentist kept telling me, "Hey, you grind your teeth, you chew gum," because and I told the dentist, I'm like, I'm a teacher. Oh yeah, you told me that. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. But there are a lot of things that you hold in that manages to bubble up to the surface in different ways that can be harmful, that can show up in just your health daily. And so I just want to talk to you about just some things that I've been talking to some friends about how do they know when someone's going through burnout. And this is just a short list about what that looks like. So I was talking to a friend and she said, someone's going through burnout when they make fatal mistakes. And I guess fatal is like, I believe it was an exaggeration. Fatal is, kind of final, but I believe that most mistakes are recoverable. I mean, they could be very expensive mistakes, they could be detrimental mistakes, but I mean, if you live to see another day, it's not fatal. But that's what the words were used. Those words were used. Anyway, you don't want to talk to your clients or your end user or your customer, whatever you may call them. You have health effects personally. You may develop high blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes because of how you're eating. When you, I'm going to get to this one later. When you're feeling overwhelmed, when you're not liking anything about your work. I hear teachers who look for something to complain about, like just no matter what, it is doomsday for them. And I just feel like, okay, that might be a sign of complete burnout. I feel like when you have a lot of controversy at work, or a lot of bickering, a lot of disagreements at work, then you tend to, those are some signs that burnout is within you, around you. You are not managing things well at work. And when you don't manage things at work well, especially when you're in education, you're going to see it in a lot of different ways. You are going to see it in relationships because you're going to be frustrated. You're going to have unfair expectations of yourself and others. And so then it's easy to be combative because you're not liking where you are. You're not liking what you're doing. And you feel overwhelmed. So this last thing is a friend of mine said it's when you don't give a F. And so my rebuttal to that was, well, I feel like unbothered and not giving an F like can sound like the same thing, but I think they're different. She said that you don't give a F, like you don't give a frank, and you are mad that you don't give a F. And I said, well, that's a different thing than being unbothered, because unbothered, it's like, I'm not angry. I'm not caring about that right now. Right. And I'll go into detail because she was saying that it's like quiet quitting, but then you're angry that you're in the situation that you have to quiet quit, or that you're in the situation that you don't want to do this thing, but you feel like you have to. We all have to do some kind of work to take care of ourselves. It's inevitable, especially if you live in America, and I do. You're going to have to take care of yourself. But I can tell you, I experienced a complete burnout, and I had to step away from education for about 18 months. I wasn't managing things well. I was stressed. I had stressors in school. I had stressors outside of school, big stressors. I was being sued. I was reaching a mature age. I was experiencing symptoms as a result of reaching mature age. I had two teenage young men in my life, my sons, and I was managing a household. So I had reached complete burnout right before the pandemic, maybe 6 or 7 months before the pandemic, and just right in the middle of the pandemic. And I tell you, what I did notice about myself is that I was worrying too much about what might happen in the future. And I was worrying about, I was trying to control too much. I was doing the most. I'll say that. I was trying to control too much. Even though I feel like I had God in my life, God is always in our lives. And he's our creator, so he's in control of things that we are unaware of. Before we're aware of ourselves, he sent us to where we're supposed to be, so we need to rest in that and in knowing that. But at the time, I felt like I had to take control over everything. I've reached a big age as of last week. Well into my 50s. I'm a big girl now. And I have learned that this world turns with or without me. And I am, whether I wake up and do some things or not, things are going to move right along, and I don't have control over everything. And that is okay, because the God I serve is sovereign, and I trust him because he created me, and he created all the lovely things around me. That reminds me how good he is. When I tell you, it was just a short time ago that there are some things that is within our control, and there's some things that's not in our control. And we really have to, every now and then, take some time to think about what we can control. We can control going to bed on time. We can control exercise. We can control watching our diet. We can control how much water we drink. We can control our focus on God. We can control how we commune with the God that we say we believe in, right? If you are a believer, then it's really weird that someone would say that they believe in God and they never talk to God, except when they are experiencing extreme pain. Or sometimes people don't talk to God because they think that, oh, well, he created this situation, so he doesn't care about me, right? But I would challenge you to talk to your creator. Have your vertical relationship intact. And then I guarantee you your horizontal relationship. God will give you the wisdom that you need. If you feel like you suffer from imposter syndrome, and in case you don't know what that is, imposter syndrome is where you feel like that you're not good enough to be in a position that you're serving in, and you feel like that you are what you're doing is not adequate. And so if you feel like that you're underdeveloped professionally, if you feel like you do not make the cut in any kind of way, I would challenge you to take small steps in figuring out what you can do in order to increase either your proficiency, or I would see if you're in a position to have someone help you. Like, lots of people, my friends, some of my colleagues will tell you that, oh my gosh, she is full of vulnerability. But we like that because there are some things that I give to my colleagues and coworkers, and there's some things that I ask of my colleague and coworkers, and I'm not afraid to ask them, like, hey, I just don't know how to every time I try to link Edpuzzle to my Canvas, it becomes a disaster. Now I link all kinds of third-party apps to Canvas, and for some reason that Edpuzzle will jack up every single time. And I've tried to do Edpuzzles because I hear they're very effective when you have a substitute, but honey, it's been disastrous every single time. So I try to avoid that. But I did ask a coworker, not even in my department, to help me with this Edpuzzle and linking it to Canvas. And actually, I had to sign up on Edpuzzle first, through the same way that I sign in on Canvas, so that it can recognize the account. It was a simple fix, but I could have let that deter me from trying my best to do the things that I know could be fruitful for my end user or my clients, my students. And so you have to be vulnerable enough to say, hey, I don't know this. I need help. And be willing to spend the time to get the help, to develop yourself, to read, to, even if it's not directly related to your profession, but I will challenge you to just read some improvement books. If you feel like you do not know how to meditate and you want to learn to meditate, I would read books on that, or listen to podcasts of people who do those things, so that you can find ways to get those things done. I think my first step in recovering from complete burnout was being kinder to myself, allowing the thought process of, whenever I have a negative emotion towards myself, to say, I am enough, and really mean it. I am enough. I do enough. I have enough. And I feel like if you, yeah, come on. If you say these things every single time a negative thought about yourself creeps into your head, then you can start being more compassionate to yourself. You will start to value things that help you thrive in your environment. So I'm not telling you, okay, you need to study up on Adobe Express, or you need to count your calories, or become vegan, or become what you call that, high protein diet. But these things, I'm not saying that you have to do these things in order to avoid burnout, but I do believe your mind is the first thing where thoughts come in and then seep into your heart and guide your walk. So when you start being kinder to yourself, reframing negative thoughts, and making sure that you are thoughtful in just the smallest thing, which is saying, I am enough, I have enough, I do enough, every single time. When you are consistent with that every single time, then you'll start walking out the things that can help you avoid burnout, which is exercise, which is watching your diet, which is drinking enough water, because you're being good to yourself, because you feel like God has a purpose for your life, that you're walking out exactly what he has before you. Then I feel like you can avoid burnout. Not that we can't get off track and be misaligned. That can happen, and it will happen. But if you're not focused on just survival, then you can refocus yourself and reframe yourself into thinking in ways that will help you avoid burnout. That's in the classroom, that's outside of the classroom. I have a colleague that has expressed that this is all they think about is this science curriculum. We've gotten new curriculum, and Lord knows I've worked more on this new curriculum and trying to develop engaging lessons and labs and things like that, and working the labs and reworking the labs, because they're not always helpful, and they're not always perfect the way textbooks and things like that are offering them. But this is not what all I think about. Okay, there are other things in my life that are important, right? My sons are important. My health is important. When I commune with my God, when I talk to my God, when I open my heart to my God, I'm telling him exactly how I feel about things. I'm telling him that, and just sometimes reading or speaking out the things that God has placed in your heart back to him. God, you've created me. I'm trying to do the things that you would have me do at the job that you've placed me at every day. I need you to help me to figure out what's most important. Help me prioritize my day. Sit back and just think about not all the grand scope of what you're supposed to do all year long, but what is going to be beneficial in moment to moment, and then ask God to help you to decipher what is most important in this moment. And I'm going to tell you this: people are more important than principles. And what I mean by principles are I mean people, and the spirit of another human is more important than you looking smart. It's more important than you making the maximum amount of dollars. So if it is if we're trying to figure out what is prioritize the two things, is this going to make the most money, or is this going to save a life? I think saving a life is more valuable. Now, some people may have different value systems, but I'm saying I look at the big picture is, how today am I going to affect other people? How I'm going to carry out the goals I have before me, which is educating students. Will they always get all the science lessons from me? Maybe not, but maybe they'll get study skills. Maybe they will get a social lesson of, I'm going to try and treat others with respect. Maybe they will get a values of routine. Maybe they will start to notice or feel comfortable enough in my classroom to know that they can relax in learning in their own personal style of learning. Maybe they will discover their learning style. Maybe they don't know their learning style, but maybe they discover their learning style with me. Everything doesn't have to be exactly how I plan it to be. I'm reading a book right now. It's called The Let Them Theory. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier in the podcast, but the Let Them Theory can free your mind, your time. It can let you sleep better at night. Because if people want to not do things that you advise them to do at work, or not cooperate, or not pull their weight, let them. Let them. It is not your job to stop somebody else from doing an awful job. It is not your job to rewrite a test that somebody else wrote. If a district official has written a test and you don't agree with it, it's not your job to tell that person, I need you to rewrite this question. And if you are making suggestions, there's ways you can make a suggestion that is more loving, that is more honoring of their position, that is more respectful. But when you're burnt out, I think you look through a narrow way. When you're not compassionate towards yourself, you experience burnout, then you are limiting yourself from reframing things to be more positive, right? So you can experience a something that is erroneous. You can experience a negative feedback from someone else. You can experience combativeness from someone else. That doesn't mean that you have to respond in a way that will perpetuate behavior. Now, you can't control if somebody is going off on you, being sister girl on you, or sister or brother man on you. Sometimes people are just having their own bad day, in their own bad life, in their own survival mode, where they don't understand how to attend to other people, or they are experiencing burnout themselves. But that ain't your problem. You can let them be exactly where they are and respond in a manner that is going to be honoring to your creator, who created you to be enough, who created you to have enough, and created you to be enough, right? So I feel like I haven't given a lot of, like, these are the tips and this is exactly what you do. But I feel like it starts in your mind first. You have to have a frame of, I am unbothered by other people's actions. I'm unbothered by other people's opinions about me. Okay. Now, I realize this is hard with family, but when you're at work, I find it's easier. It's easier for me to reframe um, a I'm so concerned about controlling this and controlling that and controlling this narrative. I don't want them to think this about me, or I don't want them to think that about me. Um, or I don't want other people to do this because it's going to create more work for me, right? I feel like unbotheredness and not giving a F is different because when I'm unbothered, I'm putting things in a frame and perspective that this is not personal. This is absolutely the most professional thing I can do. It's kind of like when um, I have an interaction with a parent that can become volatile. A parent may send me an email about a student's grade and demand for me to tell them exactly what assignments that they need and what they're failing. And then my response, because I know that I am not a computer, God created me to be a human, um, and man creates computers, but I'm not one. I will refer this client, student, parent to the computer, the resource that they can access to get the information that they need. And so I don't have to feel bothered with feeling a certain kind of way. I'm just passing on information. Oh my gosh, let me help you figure out where to look for this information. But when you experience burnout, then you're trying to control a whole lot more than you're supposed to. And then you feel like that you're responsible for more than you're responsible for. And so then you may be compelled to look up out of all the students that you may have. I don't know how many. I know I have over 120, and look up their grade, type up the names of the assignments, or get it in a situation where you can copy and paste it in a neat and understandable manner for a parent. Then put in the coordinating grades. No, ma'am, Pam, not doing that. I will direct a person to where they're supposed to be, and that eases me from the expectation of doing more than my job expects for me to do. So yes, this absolutely starts in the mind, friend, because you got to be a judgmental person. I give people the opportunity to be judgmental. That's what we were created to do. We got to judge whether we are supposed to do this thing at this time or this thing at this time. God gave us a mind for a reason. And just because I'm judging or prioritizing what my job is to do doesn't mean, yeah, burnout causes workplace incivility. Yes, it does. Um, it causes rudeness. It really does. But we have to reframe this, friend. We have to reframe it to where we're like, okay, is that the computer's job or is this my job? Because I'm not the computer. I'm here because they need a human being to convey messages so that other human beings can develop from it. If it is not contributing positively to that, or if more of my time is being contributed to doing something that a computer can do, that's not good use of my time. And so I refuse to let the majority of my time in the classroom to be taken up with tasks that only a computer can do. So I give homework to people. A lot. Oh, we talked about this. Oh my gosh, at work they were talking about how People are not returning emails in a timely manner. They're not putting grades in a timely manner. And I feel like that teachers are not intentionally doing this, that a lot of teachers are experiencing burnout because it's so much work to do. But friend, you control the grades that gets put in the grade book. You control the types of grades that's going to be friendly for you to grade or not. Like, I'm not filling my grade book with 9 things where I have to grade a whole bunch of essays. Not happening. No, ma'am, Pam. Not when we have all these computer programs to do it. So I am thinking about what is going to be the most use of my job for the reason why I'm here. So if you're here or you're doing your job because of people, then you got to think about, is this something that's going to enrich other people, or is this something that is going to take up so much of my time that I'm not going to be able to enrich people? I'm not going to be able to pour into people. I'm not going to be able to do my job effectively. Once you figure out what your job is and what your job is not, you can avoid burnout. Yes, you will have to adjust every now and then because everybody experiences burnout, but complete burnout. Now, complete burnout is folk yelling and screaming and treating everybody ugly and things like that. We're just not going to operate that way because my God tells me I have a mind to judge how I am going to approach my job. And it irritates me when people say, you know, I'm just not going to be judgmental. You can be judgmental if you want to. Well, I got a mind to judge. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to condemn somebody and put someone down, but I got a mind to judge what's foolishness and what's not. I got a mind to judge that, oh my gosh, this is foolishness. Do I have to respond to foolishness with foolishness? No, I don't. So now I can walk out of my job or out of the school or whatever you want to call your career and be unbothered, happy, looking forward to your day at home, doing what you want to do because you put in a good, solid day's work. And you may have extra work to do. You may have even a little homework at home. But you have to decide and reframe for yourself whether you are doing enough, whether you have enough, okay, and whether you are enough, because you are. And once you start walking out those things, once you start walking out and reframing things and analyzing and really stepping back and thinking about things and thinking about what is important to you, because what's important to me is longevity, because I lost my mother at 35. I'm going to drink my water. I'm going to have water goals. I'm going to get back into Pilates and yoga for sure. Gained a little bit of weight over the holidays, but I'm getting back into my exercise regimen. I've already started with my new year, communing with God in a different way and being intentional about it. Friend, we just got to do what we have to do in order to be okay with our Creator. Because our Creator, He sent us to a place to use the gifts that He gave us. So you have to rest. Yeah, you have to rest in that. Well, guys, I am reaching the end of my show. I just want to tell you that I am still working on guests. I'm going to reach out to some of the guests I've had before. If you could just look through some of the YouTube, the older YouTube shows that I've had, and just tell me who you enjoyed seeing, and I'll be working on rebooking those. I have a parent in mind that I just am dying to speak to. I just haven't made it a priority to speak to her, to get her back on the show, to give you an update on her children and how they're doing, because I admire her so much and her parenting skills. I'm just excited for this future. There's so many things to talk about. Oh my gosh, y'all. President Biden passed a law. Remember I told you guys that we don't get social security and our teacher pension in the state of Texas? Well, baby, he overturned that, and I'm super geeked about it. Now, listen, laws can be overturned, but I am so geeked, and I hope the law continues when I retire, because I only got 3 more years. 3 more years, y'all, and I might be podcasting full time. Do you want me to podcast full time? Tell me in the comments if you want me to dedicate my whole time to podcasting, because I will. You just got to support me. Will you please subscribe and like my podcast on YouTube? It's called Essential Pedagogy. You'll see my face there. Until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. I'll see you later. Lovely producer. As a done. Let's cue the music.